All right, so let's turn the volume down a little. Now, we are at a point in American political life where one of the parties is on the way to becoming irrelevant. That means the Republican Party has a smaller and smaller sphere of influence among the masses. Basically, less people like the Republican Party today than they have ever liked. All right, roughly, I would say 45% of the people in America view themselves as Republican, or are willing to admit it. So what happens is, the party limps along for a while by cheating and voter suppression and basically taking money from foreign countries and working with the Russians whatever way they can, the NRA takes money from the Russians and gives it to Trump, at 2.5 times the level they gave it to Romney. Okay, so that kind of stuff works for a little bit, but what really is killing the Republican Party is the mass communication that we have now. In the old days, when you lived in a racist neighborhood and you were Republican, it was kind of easy to keep your kids racist too, because the newspaper and the TV was the only way they would get any information. So if dad was a Republican, the kids would be Republican, and they would have that small sphere of incoming information that would basically reaffirm and confirm, the biases and the prejudices. Okay, you would only hang around other Republicans in your neighborhood. I mean, I gotta drive a while to find a Democrat. Okay, in my city. All right. So what happened is you would have a father who was Republican, and then he would have all his kids and his relatives, and they'd all be Republican. Okay. Now, with the amount of mass communication we have, it's kind of hard to look at a homosexual and feel, oh, they are evil, because you got friends who are homosexual. It's kind of weird to, look at Latinos and say they're lazy, because you see them, on the internet, you see them everywhere. Okay, you're getting more and more information. All right, so the old biases that were passed for generations don't apply anymore. Okay. So the family was all NRA supporters. Well, a shooting a month at the school. Well, now that you see it, you hear those people, it kind of starts changing it. So what happens is it becomes harder for the children of the racists, the children of the Republicans, to remain Republican because of the outside influence. So what happens is you get to a point where the Republican Party becomes less and less inclusive, simply because, frankly, their ideas are archaic and just plain wrong. I mean, you got to be immoral at a certain point to remain a Republican. When Tucker Carlson gets on television and says immigrants make our country dirtier, really? Did all the Jewish immigrants who left Germany and came to America and started making music and helping us, economically, helping us scientifically? Did the Iranians who come and work at NASA, or the doctors who are Iranians who are leading the research in places like University of Michigan, are these people making our country dirtier? Okay. This is where the Republican Party is now. So the voter suppression will only work for a little bit longer. So the gerrymandering had to come in, and the gerrymandering will work for a little bit longer. This party is dead. They just don't know how to, and they know they're dying. Okay? The party of the white man will own, the white uneducated man will only be relevant as long as there are white, uneducated men who don't have friends who would freaking, go nuts if they knew what their thoughts were. Okay? So it becomes harder and harder to remain Republican. You don't see families of Democrats, liberals, having kids who become Republican. That just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Okay? If you got a liberal family, it's very hard for if the father and the mother and the sister and the brother, feel that gays are human beings too with equal rights in us and the right to marry. It becomes hard for the little kid in the family to say, no, actually I disagree with that. Okay? It becomes hard to pass on prejudice when there is so much communication going on. So what's the Republican Party going to do? Okay? The Republican Party is going to get rid of its right wing. What that means is what you're going to see in the next 4 years. Okay? Basically, they got the message that Trump doesn't carry elections, and he's just a vile, immoral human being. We cannot base our party on the whims of a little baby, who's grown up to be a 72-year-old man. It doesn't work that way. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna start purge. That means they're gonna purge all of the Tea Party crap. Okay, they're gonna purge all of the right-wing guys. They're gonna start being more inclusive because look, you need to court some people. Okay, you can't piss off everybody and expect to have a party, okay, of basically Nazi worshippers. Okay, so what's going to happen is they're going to start becoming environmentally conscious. They're going to start embracing climate change. They're going to start embracing a lot of democratic viewpoints so that they become less marginalized. They need that other 5%. Without that other 5%, the Republican Party doesn't exist anymore as a viable option, okay? Other than maybe Texas and some southern states. So that's my view on that.